Talking now about the road to recovery. After months of suffering, of heartache, of unimaginable loss, things in Italy are starting gradually to come back to life. Our James Longman is in Italy with a closer look at their new normal.
It's been a long time coming, an emotional moment for these Italian grandparents and their granddaughter. Just a few weeks ago, it would have been normal. Now, it's a celebration of freedom and of family. Today, after months of being apart, Domenico and Maria Antonia finally reunited with their 5-year-old granddaughter, Cecilia.
Disperati, la quarantena l'abbiamo passata disperati. Adesso non riesco neanche a parlare, che sono troppo emozionato. 2 mesi che non la vediamo, è solo videochiamata, però non è lo stesso, non può essere lo stesso.
For many, Italy seems to be finally turning the tide. The once desolate streets of Italy's major cities are starting to show signs of coming back to life.
È una liberazione e poi vedere il verde, i fiori è qualcosa di indescrivibile, la gioia che mi procura. Sì, è proprio bella.
Restrictions eased to allow a return to work for some 4.5 million people. Construction and manufacturing back, parks open. New life for a country where death seemed to have no end. One of the first and most deadly outbreaks outside China, the toll heartbreaking. With more than 200,000 cases and nearly 30,000 dead, this was a trauma that will take time to heal. The town of Bergamo was one of the hardest hit.
This is the road on which military vehicles were pictured carrying the bodies of the dead from the cemetery out of town. It was a key moment, really, that woke this country up to the true scale of the crisis. But the mayor here says that the death toll may be as much as 5 times what's been reported.
Bergamo's hospital, the focus of global panic.
It was almost an apocalypse, and dozens of patients a day.
Dr. Roberto Consentini runs the emergency unit. The world saw overwhelmed.
When was the moment that you really realised something serious was happening?
When I saw with my eyes several patients all over the emergency room with the helmet and with oxygen all over. Every room was full, was filled with patients with difficult breathing. So in that moment I realized that it could have been terrible, because I think that figures talk to the brain, but images talk to the heart. In that moment I realized that preparedness was everything.
For so long, Italy's dead were buried without ceremony. Now, small funerals are allowed once more, some dignity restored. This is a cautious first step. Documentation is still needed to go outside, masks and gloves required on public transport in some areas. The danger of the virus returning is very real.
The second peak is always a possibility, and this is why we haven't closed everything about COVID departments, because we want to be ready. But I personally think that the difference is that this time we will be more prepared.
As Italy starts to come out of its crisis, people are now starting to work out just how it could have gotten so bad in this part of the country. And one theory is to look for moments when thousands of people congregated at the same time, like, for example, at a soccer match. Well, one took place here at around about the same time that Italy discovered its first case. And who were they playing? A team in Spain, Valencia. And cases from here in Italy and that part of Spain were linked.
And Italy now has time to understand the long-term impact to COVID patients.
Fatigue and probably depression will be major challenges. We are afraid of seeing even neurological consequences of the disease, which are not well understood at the moment, but we know that the virus penetrates into the nervous system.
Despite the challenges, there's hope now.
And what's it like for you now? Finally, you're getting time to breathe?
Yes, we have time to breathe now. So yes, for example, some of us have taken some day off just to rest because it was really, really heavy to work in these conditions. Now the situation is better. Yesterday we closed our intensive care department. That was for us a great success.
Silvia, like so many others, taking the time to appreciate small victories and the moments that count.
And James Longman joins us now in Italy with more. James, certainly a lot of good signs, as we just saw, but Italy still faces plenty of challenges over the next 3 months, including reopening schools and also a drop in tourism.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it, Lindsay? Each country says that they've kind of, got the science to back up their approach, and yet each country seems to want to go their own way. I was in Sweden and Denmark just a couple of weeks ago, and the Danish minister there was saying the science is telling us that we need to lock down, and yet just over the border in Sweden, the Swedish health minister was saying, well, we don't need a lockdown, and it's kind of the same here in Italy. I think one area that hasn't moved a muscle is tourism, and a lot of people have been messaging me today, people I know and people I don't know, asking me just when they can come and take their vacations in Italy. The answer to that question is not anytime soon. Like I said, Italy wants to make sure that there is no chance of a second wave before it moves forward. It wants to get there. It's just being very, very careful.
But the good news for Italy